We often talk about localization. We hear localization from donor community. We hear from the host country government and also from international organizations and also from national organization. We are aware of grand bargain like in 2016 there was a commitment from all the bilateral multilateral donors that at least 25% of their funding to channel through local and national organization. If we try to understand what is localization and what does it mean to us, different stakeholders have different understanding of localization. Some understand localization meaning just only working with local and national organizations, and some understand like nationalization is a localization and we don't need international organization, just we need to nationalize all the international organizations, and also the international positions we need to nationalize, so that's called localization. Some understand localization meaning to work with the local systems and the structures and also with the local organizations, building their capacity so that they can carry over the legacy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying the answer is right or wrong. Rather, I'm saying all the answers are right, and the localization should be the combination of all the responses. Working with the local organization is a key, and also channeling funding through local organization is also another aspect, and also working with the local system structures also key. It has some factors that need to address. For example, local and national systems and structures, mainly the government, should be ready enough to take the legacy. At the same time, local and national organizations should have capacity and readiness to take over from the international. And also, it is a kind of journey, international organizations and national organizations to go through that process and the journey. At some point, local organizations will be in a position to take responsibility, bigger responsibility to take over. And international organizations, they need to define and redefine their roles being international organizations. And there shouldn't be any competitions or ambiguities between international and national organizations. We experienced in a number of occasions that international organization is competing with the national organization, which is not fair and which is not expected. It should be like international organization to limit their scope within technical capacity, oversight to implementation, oversight to management, ensuring quality monitoring, reporting, building the capacity of local actors, strengthen coordination mechanisms, engaging local actors, and helping host country government to take ownership and fundraising or resource mobilizations should be one of key responsibilities of international organizations. At the same time, local national organizations, they need to show that level of commitment and need to create a trust and build a trust between international and national organizations, and need to be compliant and need to have a commitment to grow and develop their organizational capacity systems and structures, so that at some point they can demonstrate their capacity to attract further funding. Now, donors are reluctant to fund nationals, organizations, local organizations. Why? Simply because the donors, they see it is a big risk because of capacity issue. The national and local organizations, in many cases, they don't have required capacity to manage that extent of funding, and also to understand the donors' compliance, contractual obligations. Those are missing right at the moment. After the funding cut, US funding cut, this sector, like humanitarian and development sector, badly got impacted. Donors, I think since 2016, were shouting about localization. International organizations were shouting about localization. Even national organizations were demanding to fulfill that 25% obligations of channeling funds. It didn't happen, but it was in every discussions. It has been a kind of localization, has been a kind of jargon. When we met different donors, and donors said that, when you ask that what is your positions on localization, they first give a smile back, and then they said, yeah, we understand this is very important and we need to work around it, but we don't know how to do that. The how is not very clear to donors. Now, because donors earlier, they had funding, huge funding, international organizations mainly were equipped with different fundings. National organizations were shouting, but they're shouting not reaching to that level. After funding cut, now localization has been the hot topics. No options. Now we have to go with this, and we have to go for localization for international organization. International organizations now need to redefine their scope of work, redefine their roles being international organizations, and how to work with local and national organizations. Now, donors, they do not have adequate funding. International organizations, their legitimacy is absolutely depending on the grants and the funding that they receive from donors, and definitely international organizations to work with national organizations. Now the situation is complex. Donor is not ready for localization. International organization is not ready for localization. Local and national actors in some conflict affected countries and the fragile context, they are not at all ready. But localization is a hot topic now. This is now like every stakeholder is in a dilemma that how to digest this localization concept. But this is good, at least now it has got that momentum to move with localizations. Slow and steady is a good approach, and pause and reflect method is a good approach. We started learning. We started doing by learning, or learning by doing. So every possible options, we have to invest on localization. And it is very important to understand the dynamics of the localizations, and to what extent being international organization need to take the risk, calculated risk, and how to share the risk amongst the local national actors, and how could we hold duty bearers and the host country government accountable to take the responsibility and allocate reasonable resources to demonstrate their political commitment and willingness to implement localizations. If host country government doesn't take the responsibility of their own populations, localization agenda will not work. Only donors are reluctant. Donors are also saying that if government is not showing their political commitment, we are not bound to fulfill the responsibility of the host country government. Thank you very much.